One commenter asked how confident you are all that Roe v. Wade would not be overturned.
Well, I used to be pretty confident, but as we get these new Supreme Court judges, and the states are, a laboratory of legislation to overturn Roe v. Wade, that they want to be in the pipeline when there are enough Supreme Court justices to take a case that could overturn Roe v. Wade. So it's a real concern, a real threat.
Another question we have here is that do any of the panelists have reactions to the recent revelation that Norma McRae, who was Jane Roe, was still pro-choice even when she was paid to be a mouthpiece by the anti-abortion crowd? Dr. Place, you're nodding. Would you like to reflect at all on this? Oh, you're still muted, Jean.
I just think it speaks to a deeper thread of did she fear being heard for what she really believed? Did she fear speaking up? And I think about the last point that I tried to make in my talk about we should believe women because we want them to speak more. And if we can create a culture where women's voices are valued, then I wonder if that is a theme in what happened.
Megan, I have a question for you and for anyone else. Earlier, you talked about their nonprofit status of crisis pregnancy centers. I remember looking into this and discovering that a lot of them were churches, so had the tax status of a church. And a little anecdote, I was with my parents once and we drove by a crisis pregnancy center in upstate New York. And I said to my father, what does this look like to you? This was after our first Real Choice event. And he said, I don't know, a place you would go to find out where to get an abortion. And that's what he said. And I was like, interesting. It looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck. It is certainly not a duck. Could you shed any light on that?
You mean the way they make it look, or the fact that they're affiliated with actual churches, or
both, I guess, but probably
okay.
It looks like it doesn't. It looks like a a health center, but it's in fact a church.
Right. Yeah. It's been a while since I was like deep in the weeds of the, kind of like the tax filing stuff. So I'm gonna skip that part because I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, in terms of the way they look, and again, I want to. This is very important. I want to underscore this. It's not by coincidence that they do that. It's that they're receiving information and protocols and advice from these umbrella organizations that are directing them, find a location near the Planned Parenthood, run a Google ad that says choices in it, and put up a sign, put up a shingle that says women's health. Like they're doing everything that they can. They often have they have staff wear scrubs who aren't actually licensed medical personnel. So there's so much overt deception going on. And again, this is, they have conferences where people are being trained in how to be most deceitful. So again, just to underscore, this is not my interpretation that it's set up that way. It really is set up that way to mislead people. And I lost my train of thought, but so those kinds of things are happening. And then they also are often affiliated with either a local church or these organizations like CareNet or Heartbeat, which are expressively evangelical organizations whose stated mission is to spread, to make ours a Christian nation. So it's not subtle at all once you scratch the surface that their goal is to convert people, and to like their expression, save the mother, no, save the mother, save the child. So you're going to convert the woman, and then you're going to save the, the unborn child. So that,
Thank you.
that is really what's happening. And yeah, and it's all, yes.
This afternoon, in getting ready for this event, I wanted to know a little more about First Choice for Women here in Muncie. So I Googled them on the website. They have a very, very nice website. But I noticed that they are part of the Care Choice network. The other thing that's there's their annual reports are there. They have actually their 990, their tax form, their nonprofit tax form, which is the same form that Planned Parenthood and other nonprofits fill out. So it was interesting to see where their money comes from. Mostly it's from fundraisers like what they're having today, and I guess it goes on till tomorrow, and from individuals. They do get grants, but I was really surprised at how much money they get from individuals.
Sue, you're speaking about the money that they get from individuals in our community. And this was something that turned me onto the issue originally, because the Walk for Life signs would be everywhere in Muncie. And I was like, oh, wow, Muncie's really behind this organization. But one criticism I've heard, and came up earlier in the questions, is, but they're providing unduplicated services for new mothers and young children. Do you know of any other places in the community that people could donate to that help to help babies and mothers?
Well, I know that the township trustees, the center township trustee, is somewhere that you can get help. Probably Open Door. I haven't really talked with them, but I would guess that if they don't have supplies, they can tell people where to get them. So it's not the only resource as far as I know. And possibly, they refer people for supplies to First Choice, but that's not First Choice's main objective.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I also want to, I'm forgetting the name now because it's been a while I've been in touch with her, but there is a legitimate pregnancy counseling center in Indiana. It's not in Muncie. I'm going to look up and send it to you, Sarah, later. But a wonderful feminist organizer has actually established a real option center where really you can come in and get the kind of counseling that, for example, Planned Parenthood would offer, or an OBGYN or a therapist. And they also offer, pregnancy classes and baby clothes and et cetera. So I will send you that information. But I think that I wish there was more of that model where where we were running places like that, feminists, where we could, and that's what health centers are. That's what Planned Parenthood is. That's what the independent clinics are. But I think that's a really good question. And in part of the thing with funneling state money towards these centers is in effect kind of puts other nonprofits not out of business, but you know what I mean? It discourages them necessarily because the funding is going to these religious organizations. So that's another thing too.
And I'll add that anyone can call the Moms Helpline. It's 1-800-833-MOMS. I'll get the number to you, Sarah, but all they need to look up is Moms Helpline Indiana, and they can be hooked up with an OB navigator. It just barely rolled out in Delaware County. These women who want to bring a pregnancy to term and raise a child to adulthood, they can get hooked into this OB navigator program where a home visitor will follow them through pregnancy up till 3 to 5 years after birth. The Nurse Family Partnership is an evidence-based program that does that in Delaware County. It's extremely outcome-oriented, and the outcomes that the Nurse Family Partnership have are really positive. They're also an organization that can help hook women into the services that they need and deserve. And the last point that I'll make about unduplicated services, for example, like the relationship-based classes or the sex ed classes that they may be offering in middle schools or high schools. It shouldn't be their role to offer that. This is a public school system, and the public school system has the obligation to provide medically accurate, comprehensive sex education to our young people. So this isn't necessarily the role of a nonprofit. This should be supported by a progressive government who believes that young people have the right to this kind of knowledge about their bodies.
Such an important point, and this is often the problem in communities like Muncie, where there's so much work that should be done by the state has been handed off to nonprofit organizations, and then our state has, this is really a concern that progressives have. Jean Marie, I found the Moms Helpline and put it in the chat. And Megan, someone commented that it's All Options Pregnancy in Bloomington. And they put the link there. So I'm thankful to those watching our event tonight. You're informed viewers and you're helping people get the word out here. It has been an hour. And I think that is the time that we've decided that is good for an event like this. But if you are interested, if you're watching and you're interested in advocating for reproductive justice and helping pregnant people, and fighting against crisis pregnancy centers, contact us at muncieresist.org, send an email to muncieresist@gmail.com. We would love to collaborate with you. In addition, I put a few links in the chat to organizations that you could give to, including Open Door, Planned Parenthood of Indiana and Kentucky, and All Options Pregnancy is here now. And so why don't you give generously right now if you're in the position to during this difficult time, especially as Walk for Life is a fundraiser for First Choice for Women. So we want to raise money for these organizations that really advocate real choice. So thank you to Eleanor and Phil for your work for Muncie Resists. And thank you very much to Megan, Sue, and Jean Marie. You guys have been fantastic guests. Thank you so much for your hard work.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yes, thank you.
I really enjoyed everybody's comments. And one last, I just want to get this message out.
Please.
The anti-abortion movement really did gain its traction through decades of grassroots groups. So what you're doing is important. You know, everything, none of us can do it alone, but together, this is how cultural change happens. And with the courts gone, cultural change is what we have. So we can do it.
I'd like to add, can I add one more comment?
Please do.
My last comment is also for people who may be anti-abortion and religious. Consider donating to the Indiana Religious Coalition for Reproductive Rights. So there are a series of religious-minded ministers and individuals who believe it is Christian to provide all options.
Thank you. And Sue, do you have a last word?
I think it's something that was said right at the beginning, that this is a long haul, it's not a sprint. And so it's worth it to keep fighting, because for every step back, we need to take at least a step forward. And it won't happen without a grassroots effort.
Thank you so much. All right, folks. This is Muncie Resist signing off. Thank you very much and have a wonderful evening.